we keep hearing all this stuff about climate change and how we're going to have lockdowns due to climate. Now we've got another circulating around right now that the people are screaming there's going to be lockdowns due to that again. Locking you down for climate change doesn't make any sense to me. Does that make sense to you? You would be home and you would be running your air conditioner more. You would be wanting to stay cool or warm in your house, right? But a lot of people are starting to talk about they're going to lock us down for climate reasons. I just don't see that happening. You know, to go back to the pandemic, we hear, a lot of people say they were locked down. Here in my area, nobody was locked down. The only people that, wasn't considered essential was school teachers and preachers. Everything else was essential. So, I mean, we didn't really see lockdowns here. I don't know anywhere in the United States where people were locked down, where I'm talking you couldn't even leave your home. I'd never seen that or heard of it. Now, they may have been spots somewhere I didn't hear of, but it's just completely absurd to me that anyone would think that they would lock us down for climate change reasons. How does that make any sense? Seriously, how does it make any sense? It doesn't, because I think we're just going through some kind of cycle right now with the weather. I've said this before. We've got a heat wave coming right now, right? Everybody's all upset and worried about this heat wave. It happens every year in some locations. It's heat waves. Here in the South, it gets hot and it stays pretty hot all summer. You'll have some days where you walk outside and you're like, no way. But, that's just the way it is. We have cooler summers, we have hot summers, we have rainy summers, we have dry summers, we have windy summers, we have no wind summers. I mean, it's just a cycle we're going through. I don't know what they think's going on here. Now, can they manipulate the weather? Yes, they can. I'm sure there's some way with everything they've got going on they can do it. This hurricane that they're making a big deal out there in California, the first one that's hit out there since 1939, and I think that wasn't even a hurricane that hit. I think it was some kind of tropical depression, but it killed 93 people in 1939. So, they're making a big deal out of the storm. They kept calling it a hurricane, but this thing, when it hits land, it's not going to be a hurricane. It may have already hit by now. That area of California doesn't see a lot of rain, so could you see flooding issues? Yes, you could. Out there, you have a lot of homeless people. And out there, the rivers are fake. they're what is it? Concrete rivers, right? You could see some flooding issues once this system gets up into the mountain areas and really starts dumping rain down through there. But as far as the strangeness of it, it is strange for it to see it get hit out there. It made basically a north turn and then a northeast turn back in. So is that due to climate change? I don't know. I know they're saying we're switching to a El Nino. I think that's right. Yeah, El Nino season, which in the past here in Alabama, when we would have El Nino during the winter, now I'm sure there's a weatherman, if they watch this, which probably not, they're not going to watch this, but they would tell me I'm completely wrong. But anytime we had El Nino systems during the fall, it meant a lot of rain for us, and during the winter we would get decent snow at least once or twice a winter. Told you our winter here, temperature wise, are not very very long. But we do get good snows here in an El Nino year. Good snow here, just to verify for people that think that gets feet of snow. A good snow here is anything over 4 inches. Anything over an inch cripples around here. I mean, it's like people don't know how to drive. They wreck, run off the ditch all the time and all this stuff. But anything over 4 inches here is considered a good snow. We do see a foot every now and then. We'll get a foot of snow, but our snows don't come and stay for like weeks on end. It'll come and it'll snow and it'll last either just overnight and then the next day it's gone, or you'll get 2 or 3 days out of it. It'll snow, the next day it'll taper off snowing, and then you get that night the next day and it starts melting by the 3rd day. Our snows don't stay here for very long. Even the blizzard snow we had, like I said, over 20 inches where I lived. It stayed on the ground, covered the ground for maybe a week, maybe a little less than a week. We were back to school not long after that. I was in high school at that time. We were back to school not long after it, but where I lived, we was out of power for 2 to 3 weeks. We had no power, but like I told you, we had wood heat and all that. One thing very strange about that blizzard of '93 where I lived, the ground never froze. It just snowed that hard and that fast. That Friday that it started snowing, I had a friend that had come over, and his mom come and picked him up and said that there's going to be snow. And it was snowing flakes like this big. They were huge flakes, you know. And I went to bed, and it was just kind of dust in the ground. Didn't think nothing about it when I woke up in the morning. Boy, it was a full-blown blizzard like something you would see in a movie or what y'all see up north. I know one of the guys on here told me he's from, I believe, the Upper Peninsula. I mean, y'all get some snow. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, I woke up, you couldn't even see. My grandmother lived probably 100 yards behind us. You couldn't even see her house. It was snowing and the wind was blowing that hard. We had drifts up to 6 and 7 feet here. I remember getting under the back. We had a deck on the back of our house, and I dug a hole and got up under it. It was pretty neat. I was young. It was fun, right? Nowadays, I would just like to see it again, just to say I saw it again. My kids never got to see a snow like that. We may never, but they keep claiming, you know, climate change. Everything's heating up. Guys, it's summertime. It's going to be hot. It's hurricane season. It's rare for one to be out there hitting California, I will admit that. But look, Florida's not got hit yet with nothing. You know, usually this time into September, our big hurricane, that's when they try to come through here in the south, you know. You do have nor'easters and all that stuff coming up in that season right up on the northeast coast. But I do not believe they're going to lock us down for climate reasons, because it makes no sense. Why would they tell you stay at home? The climate's, you know, too bad. You're going to sit at home. You're going to crank your air conditioner up if it's hot, right? Or if you're cold, you're going to crank up your heat. And so many people nowadays, they only have electrical heat. That's all they have. They have split units or big units or electric heat, some form of electric heat, right? They have no way to heat their house other than the electricity being on. Now, I'm not sure on this, but if you get a generator to run your heating system, I don't know what size of generator you would have to have. You may have one that could only run your heating system. I'm not sure, because we don't have that. We don't have electric heat here. But guys, climate lockdowns, you're hearing a lot of channels on here telling you they're fixing to lock you down for it. I don't see it happening. I really don't, because it wouldn't do no good. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the one thing that I liked about the pandemic, now this is the only thing I liked about it, the 6-foot rule. Stay 6 feet away from me. Because I'm the type, if I'm in a store, and you've probably been in this position, let's say you're standing there looking at something, or you're in line, and somebody's behind you doing this. Just right up on you, right? I can't stand that. I'm like, back up, get off of me. I don't want, that's the only rule I enjoyed. I wish they would keep that rule, right? I'm joking, but seriously, the 6-foot rule was not that bad when you was in public. Most of us prefer our space when we're in public. The lockdown, climate lockdown, I do not see it happening. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. And the new that's going around, I don't think they'll lock us down for that either. I really don't. I don't think they're going to mandate nothing. I think they know they're not going to be able to get away with that again. They may, though. They may try it. I'm not saying they're not. This is just my thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts on it. Do you think this climate change is just a normal cycle we're going through, or do you think it's really something that's going on that's messing up the earth, and, you know, within 10 years it's going to be 200 degrees, which according to the weatherman, they probably will tell us it's 200 degrees with this heat index stuff. You got to understand that heat index stuff they say, it was 1979 when that was invented. They invented that term in 1979. Not 1879, 1979. Here in the South, it just means hot and muggy, y'all. It means the humidity's high and it's hot. That's what it means. Because if not, if they say the heat index, if it's 100 degrees and the heat index is 120, why do they not just call the temperature 120, right? Because they can't, because that's not the temperature. That's the temperature, you know, direct sunlight. You know what I'm talking about. We've all gotten a car on a hot day. You felt that heat in there. So let me know your thoughts on this, what you think about all this. Is it craziness? Do you think we'll get locked down again? Keep your head on the swivel, be aware of your surroundings at all times, protect yourself and your family at all times. At that moment, you're the only person that can do it. Stay safe and keep prepping.